Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Down the Slope. Unfortunately, unlike Hibs, we only have two. Hibs scored three last night. We are a group of two this evening. I am joined by Craig, who I spent a lovely evening with last night. Craig, how are you doing today after a late one back down to the pans last night?
Can't wipe the smile off my
Didn't.
face today. That's unbelievable.
What a win that was then. Uh, Mate, what an absolute belting game of football that was. Hibs by no means were fantastic. We played our part in the game, of course, but we've played better this season. We've probably played better against Dundee United, but it's the first time we took the 3 points. There's been a massive amount of fallout. God, Hibs have been on the back pages a lot this week on the back of some refereeing decisions, but
Hmm.
we shall start with the feelings that we had going into the game. So we obviously were on a high after the Celtic game, mate, and we were chatting away as we drive up to I was gonna say Denzer as we drove up to Tannadice last night, and we couldn't quite make our mind up if it was going to be one of the nights where the run's going to come to an end because we're due a defeat, or nah, we're just so good, we just keep winning. And it proved to be the latter. But how were you feeling going into the game?
I was feeling okay. Genuinely, the only as you know, as we've been talking about, to be fair, I've been saying it for weeks now. I'm the only thing that's making me think the run's going to come to end is because the run's been going on for so long. Like every single game, I'm thinking to myself, it's got to be now, it's got to be now. Uh, but other than that, going into the game, like I genuinely fancied us to beat Dundee United because I think if we play to our best, we're a better side than them.
Yeah.
So I just think, if we turn
Jimmy
up here, we'll do the
demonstrated that
job.
now in all three games this season as well. Like, have you seen enough there in terms of what we've seen in Hibs this year and in Dundee United across the three games that obviously whilst we're only ahead of them on are we ahead of them on goal difference at this moment in time? Have you
Yes,
have, have
correct.
you seen enough in the three games to think that we are a better side and we will collect more points than them between now and the end of the season?
Yes, I've definitely seen enough.
Hmm.
Like, I thought we were definitely the better side the first two games that we played them. Last night, I didn't think we were great, but at the end of the day, you get the job done, so
Hmm.
you can't complain too much there. But I definitely think we're a better side. I know a certain specky gentleman has got an absolute hatred for Dundee United this season. But I don't probably agree with him to the extent of them being quite as bad as they are. But I do think we are the better side,
Yep.
uh, and I genuinely think that'll show in league position come the end of the season.
I mean, you obviously referenced Harry there. I mean, what a night that is for him, eh? Agendas all over the place, and finally vindicated in his stance. There was one change, obviously, from the weekend's team. That when the team got announced before the game, unsurprisingly, a change that you predicted before the team came out. You expected that Bowie might drop out the team. Did you? Well, I know how you were feeling, but I'm going to ask you to communicate it. Did it worry you when you seen that he wasn't in the team?
What, Bowie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think although Miko has scored some goals this season, I think the impact that Bowie's had has been so clear. Like just purely in an out and out sort of striker sense, physicality, holding the ball up, getting us up the park. So I was concerned from that point of view. To be fair, I did think it was the right decision because I think we've got to start him in the derby. So I wouldn't have started him midweek as well as being started against Celtic, purely just because I think I mean, a player who's coming back from injury, it doesn't make sense to start him three times in one week. So it's definitely a change that was expected, but uh, as much as I've been critical of Miko, again, it probably is the one I would have chose as well because I think he offers you more, definitely in a physical sense, and you're going to get out of Gale and
Uh-huh.
legs. Although Gale offers you plenty, and he's got that sort of know-how of how to play these types of games. Miko definitely has obviously got way more legs to offer you.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen. the majority, not maybe, I don't think we've seen the best of Miko last night, but do you think we've seen something that is a lot closer to the player we hoped we were signing in the summer? I mean, obviously getting a goal, it's his first goal for a while, and what is only his first or second league start since he got his injury. But do you feel like his hold up play was a lot better? His link up play maybe felt like he had a little bit more of a purpose. Even the fact he gets booked, like he's sort of just a lot more involved in the game, it felt like in sort of his hour last night than he had been previously.
Well, we were both saying it at the game. To be, I was trying to decide today, right? Does his goal skew your sort of view on how his game has actually developed? Like, was he as good, or was it just the goal that made it feel like it was better?
Hmm.
But I think like we were standing at the game, and I found myself saying, "Oh, well done, Miko," more than I have in the past. Like, I genuinely thought he was had a better game. Uh, so no, there's definitely still he needs to do more. If it's going to be him or Bowie, he needs to do more to try and
Hmm.
uh, get his name rather than Bowie starting. But it was better. It was a step forward.
Yeah, no, I personally thought he played well last night. Probably not as much in the second half. I don't think anyone, to be fair, up to the point of the subs was particularly outstanding in the second half. But I felt in the first half that he was really getting himself about. He was performing well, and we commented on it. I think sort of he held the ball up well, got out to Miller, won the corner, and then he goes and scores from it as well. And like I felt like there was a noticeable difference in him last night, and it got me thinking sort of like, does he have that sort of like just a little bit of confidence, like that good feeling that we commented before the game he scored a great goal up there before, in his previous spell. Um, I felt like he scored there in the game earlier in the season, but he didn't. It was Warner Hora and Gale that scored. I'd sort of convinced myself that he'd scored there earlier in the year as well, but
Yeah, they look a bit like
proved
each other
myself
from
wrong.
far.
Exactly. That's exactly, mate. But I mean, he took his goal excellently well as well, and Aki's already commented on that in the YouTube chat, saying his movement to get away from the defender just peels off the back of him. You look, it's debatable if you want to say it's good movement or horrible defending, but when it goes in your favour, you're going to praise your player as opposed to
Aye.
criticising the defender, aren't you? But I thought we were well worthy of the equaliser at that point in time in the game, to be honest. I actually felt to that point we'd been the better side despite Dundee United's goal earlier in the game. Would you agree with that?
Well, our best spell was definitely that sort of first, even even after they scored the first sort of 20 minutes, I actually thought was probably our best spell, particularly the first five. I thought if we started the game well, and we were both saying we're playing well here, like this is all right. Then they score, and even after the goal, I thought we settled quite well. I don't think it affected us too
Hmm.
much. Uh, aye, so I wasn't overly worried. Obviously, when you're 1-0 down, it's not great, but the good thing about conceding that early is that you've still got so much time to get goals back.
Hmm.
So
I felt like there was a real calmness after Dundee United's goal, both on the pitch and in the stand. Like so if I even look back, even. When was the air game? 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, as that game was progressing around us, and I know it was a Friday night as opposed to a Wednesday, so probably a lot more sort of alcohol floating around the stands and stuff for the air game. But as that game progressed, it still felt at that point in the run that there was a little bit of panic and unease at times when things didn't really go our way in that game. And
mhm.
whereas last night I never got that sense around us in the stand either. And then you see out on the pitch, like I just felt I almost immediately worked the ball well up the pitch, and I think we got a corner. And I'm thinking like, you've got that great ball in from Nicky Cadden that they do well to sort of clear off Boyle's toes, and then we equalise literally like 10 minutes after they score. So I think it's
Yeah,
just another sign of the the development and the confidence that's going through the team at this moment in time to go behind early doors away in a tough game, and just there be an element of calm that we just kept playing our game and we done well. And I think that as the first half progressed, Dundee United definitely came into it and maybe finished the half slightly stronger than ourselves. But at half time, if there was a team that wanted to suggest that they should have been ahead, I felt like it probably would have been justified to say it was ourselves. But we went in it. at 1-1, and probably the first 45 minutes through, and then for the next 45 minutes, there was there was a definitely a momentum shift in the game, shall we say?
Yeah, Dundee United came out in the second half and definitely. To be fair, I don't think they were sparkling either. I really don't think they were like too great. I know there was a couple of deliveries obviously into the box that were quite good, but I thought they had pressure, but I don't think they really troubles us too much. A couple of flashing wide and stuff, but there was definitely a momentum shift and they had more impetus in the game and were kind of probably driving the control of the game more.
Hmm.
Uh, and obviously, as soon as they get the goal that was then eventually disallowed, uh, that felt like at that moment, right? That's going to be that. But I would agree with your last point. To be fair, there's definitely see at the start of the season, whenever we conceded or we went 1-0 behind or whatever it was, any moment of chaos in a football match at the start of the season, we just folded instantly. It was as soon as anything goes wrong, no matter how well we've been playing for 75, 80 minutes of a game, as soon as something goes wrong, that's us, we're under.
Hmm.
Whereas now there's definitely like a wee bit more grit about us. Obviously, a lot of that down to confidence, where when you concede, it's like, all right, well, we'll just keep playing the way we were and we'll get back into the game, which is exactly what you need. And exactly,
Hmm.
to be fair, what we done last night.
It felt like at the start of the season, definitely that it was like if we conceded a goal, it almost felt likely that we were going to concede again in 10 minutes. Do you know, like
Yeah, aye,
and last night was just the polar opposite of that, and I couldn't have been more impressed, I think, with the sort of response to that, because it is the first time really in this run where I felt like we have been at a point out with the Rangers game, but even then, that's at Easter Road. The run maybe wasn't what it is just now. Like, we obviously drew at Ross County, we drew at St Mirren, we drew at St Johnstone, but we went ahead in two of the games as well. Like, it was like, okay, let's see what we're made of here. And I was just really impressed with that sort of just calmness. I has to just, I think it's the only way I can describe it really. But
a smile's
um,
better.
the second half, look, I mean, if Hibs don't win the game, the second half was shit. Like, do you know, like
Yeah,
it was a Hibs were poor in the second half. Obviously Dundee United get their goal disallowed, which I think we'll come back to that. I think, sort of after we spoke about the other stuff, because again, we're going to have to talk about it. But I don't even know if I would go as far to say that that was like a momentum shifter, because I still don't think we were great after that. We obviously made the three subs, changing the front two, and Jordan Obita came on. I felt like the subs really struggled to get to the pace of the game. It felt like for everything that I've just said about the calmness and the composure in the first half, I felt like every time we were on the ball in the second half, there was a real reluctance to get our foot on it and just calm things down and try and build an attack. When the defenders got the ball at the back, they were scuffing clearances into sort of just inside our half,
there's
and
a lot
Dundee.
getting sliced.
I just and like when Obita came on, I remember three or four times where he's just using the ball first time every time when he's got time, and it just up until ultimately up until the point of absolute quality, where we did just in a one instance slow the ball. And to be fair, actually, before that, Junior Hoylett came on. Actually, of all the subs, I know he scored his goal as well, and Bowie obviously takes his goal excellently. But I thought Hoylett, of the four players that came off the bench, was the one that had the biggest impact. When he came on, the momentum started to shift. He took on defenders. We won a couple corners, but the one moment in the second half where we really got a grip of the ball in the middle of the park and showed a little bit of quality, um, we turned the ball over. Was it someone set it in nicely for Triant as he plays a
It was Gale,
wonderful pass into perfectly weighted into Kieran Bowie, who fucking bangs it into the top corner. I mean, what an absolute finish that was, Craig. And cue the perfect away day celebration in the last, well, not the last minute, there's still 10 minutes to go, but
aye.
90th minute winner away from home, unbelievable finish.
Aye.
What a moment, right?
It was class. It was a typical, like you say, away day pandemonium in the stand. It was brilliant. It's that had that like because you could see it coming so far with the pass through Trantis, and obviously Bowie's run onto it, had that like moment of the intake of breath before he strikes the ball. Uh, and by the way, like first of all, great finish, but technically that's an unbelievable goal to take
Mhm.
that full pelt running and on the slide
Aye.
to finish it into the top corner. I know he said in his interview after the game, all he's thinking about is hitting the target. You're like, is it's just as simple as that? That be a striker and you just think, just put your
Hit
foot
the
through it and hit the
target and
target.
smash it, eh? Mate, how
Well, I
many
said to me
times?
today, he was like, "Oh, we've not had many players recently that just hit the ball as hard as they
Mate,
can."
yep, 100%. I was just about to say it. We've said so many times, like, it's always a pass or a stroke or, like, and, like, you just think back to almost a similar situation against Celtic right after we went 1-0 up. He gets the chance on the half volley and he just puts his foot through it, hits the target. Mate Schmeichel make a save at the weekend. Last night, unbelievable finish to, by the way, in my opinion, beat the best goalkeeper in the league. At least, look, or Casper Schmeichel's probably the best goalie in the league, but in terms of their performance this year, I think Jack Walton's had the best season as a goalkeeper. It is an unbelievable finish to leave him with absolutely no chance. And if you've the pass from Chant is who I mean, saying there was calmness around us in the stand. I mean, Trent
I
has got
know what you're saying.
got called a fucking huddy and hopeless after about 2 minutes into the game, which was quite the take after the run of form he's had. But the pass is excellent.
Stabbed
It's
almost into it, like
aye.
he just stabs it into the ground and kind of it's like a side foot stab. It's bizarre. It was a strange pass, but it was perfect. The weight on it was so good for him to run onto. He didn't need to break stride really at all. But I mean, he's been sparkling recently.
Mhm.
Giannis, like he's been for me anyway. I know we'd obviously done the poll on Twitter recently. Uh, for me, he's been the best player of the season so far, like consistency wise. But not only just it's not like we're talking about like the sort of Lewis Stevenson, Paul Hanlon consistent like 6, 7 out of 10 every week. Like there's been several weeks recently where he has been an
Mhm.
eight, an eight plus.
Mhm.
Uh, so he's looking really, really good just now. And I think every performance that he puts in like this just lessens our chances of getting him back, to be fair.
Absolutely,
But if he's
absolutely.
going to play less like that until the end of the season, then happy days, he's done his job.
100%, mate. I mean, he was he probably did have one of his poorer games last night. He gave the ball away and slap, but the quality that he possesses and the confidence that he just exudes in the middle of the park just now is just a joy to watch. I was thinking sort of today, like for sort of comparisons, and they're totally different players, but the sort of confidence and the way he conducts himself on the pitch, him in this run of form almost reminds me of like Scott Allen in that Neil Lennon team. So he plays a bit deeper, and obviously, he can travel with the ball a bit more than Scott Allen would. But just that total calmness, and he takes the ball down, and he'll. I mean, in the first half, he was surrounded by two Dundee United players and just popped it through one of their legs, and
Ah,
just he's just that like real sort of Rolls Royce of a midfielder, and he's really excelling at this point in the season. Jay and Sandy have just said in the chat, so is Triant is your player of the year currently, Craig? I would assume that's a yes for you
yes,
currently. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, because you see, even during the first part of the season, we weren't playing well. I
hmm
thought he put in a few decent, really decent performances. Obviously, did like the rest of the team, he had a few stinkers as well, but I thought he was more consistently one of the better players, even in the sort of poor run of form.
Sorry, I'd muted myself there because nobody wanted to hear me coughing and choking there.
Sorry, I didn't see that.
No, look, I think from then on in, Hibs managed the last 10 minutes, the 10 minutes injury time superbly well. With Dundee United had sort of one shot from open play. He was offside anyway. And obviously the free kick that I felt that I really felt that the free kick that they gave on Rocky was actually quite harsh. I felt like him and Dalby, maybe it is a foul, but the pair of them had literally been doing that to each other all night and it had never been flagged. So that's just why I
Yeah.
felt that it was harsh. And Jordan Smith made the save, albeit unconvincing. Again, maybe similar to the late one on the air, but he made the save, and that is the most important thing. Not to be negative, but probably a bit of a concern his performance maybe in the last couple of games, and hopefully
Uh,
he can find that confidence again coming into the weekend. But an even better moment followed that. After, the ball, Hibs clear the ball, and you think, right, that's going to be full time. But the wonder that is VAR means that Junior Hoylett, for a goal that seemed like it had no chance of standing. People laugh about, oh, did or didn't celebrate. I genuinely don't think we did. I genuinely think we
No,
stood still because he looked a million miles offside.
I mean, to me, I was absolutely utterly convinced that he was offside. Uh, when the ball hits the back of the net, I just instantly look to the linesman, obviously seeing him
Aye.
flag. Uh, but obviously, I was getting a good laugh at actually last night after we'd done it. I was so frustrated because in my head at that moment, I was saying to my brother today, all I could think about was seeing this game out, and he's offside. He's absolutely
Mhm.
offside. So I'm just thinking, waste as much time as you can, because the liner would wait until the play finishes to put his flag up. So I'm thinking, just
Just
take ages
fanny
taking the
about,
shot,
aye.
run it to the corner, maybe turn around, come back, look for a player,
I
and then
try
they put the
dribble
flag
past the
up.
keeper or something.
Aye, just do anything you can to delay time, because you're going to be offside anyway. But obviously he finishes it.
It's a
Uh,
fantastic
shows how
finish as
much I know.
well.
It
It
is.
is a
It's a fives finish, mate. If you play at the
aye.
fives, that is the finish to do because nobody ever could save them.
It's a lovely finish, and when the goal's given, that moment where the players, and I think I said to you that just before it got given, I said I think he's just said to the goalkeeper, like, even if this isn't given, the game's done. Like, as soon as
Yeah,
you hit this, because you seen the goalkeeper like shaking his head, sort of thing. So,
yeah.
who was ready to take the free kick, obviously for offside. And I don't know if the Hibs players know that the game's over or not at that point, but the goal's given. Warren O'Hara's in the stand, someone else in the stand. Rocky's found energy for absolutely somewhere to come 60, 70 yards down the pitch, knee slide it. That, what followed Junior Hoylett's goal, well, actually, what followed Kieran Bowie's goal is like 20 minutes probably. 20 minutes, say, injury time and 10 minutes after the game of just like the best feeling. Do you know, like that,
Floating.
like what you feel in the moments is unbelievable, and I can only imagine what that does for a group of players. Like they get sunshine on leaf after the game on Sunday. They have that moment. Sorry, on Saturday they have sunshine on leaf at that moment on a Wednesday night. Like it has to just galvanize you and really unite you as a group and just give you that extra little. They like that 1%, just like the
Yeah,
untangibles, like just so good, mate, right? So
nah,
good.
that was brilliant. These are these are the moments that when you're making the trips up to Dingwall and through to Glasgow, and it's taking 2.5 hours to get to Paisley or whatever, and you wonder why you do it. These
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 are the
little
days,
moments
my
that you get,
friends.
these are they're the ones, and that's that sort of see that 3 4 seconds after a ball hits the back of the net for a big goal like that. It's just the best. It's just the best thing ever. So
So
good.
good. So good, mate. So good. Well, look, we've sort of brushed over the sort of major talking point in the game there and
Aye.
all the sort of post-match reaction that followed. So we are going to touch on that. I'd just like to make one point here. Jim Goodwin and Dundee United Football Club are fucking losers. Absolute fucking losers.
Ah, that's good. I was wondering where the bar was going to be for this one to rip rip them. You've just set
Abs
that the tone right away.
Absolute greeting-faced whiny bastards, man. I've seen tweets saying that games should be replayed, that VR needs to go in the bin exclusively because of that game, that they are there's an agenda against Dundee
Yeah,
United. I'm not being funny. Dundee United, stay in
it's
your
laughable.
fucking lane.
Have you seen the Pie and Bovril tweet?
Aye, the five, like they hadn't
The
had
latest,
anything,
aye,
hadn't had any mistakes go against them and had five in their favour.
in the favour.
It's ridiculous, mate.
No.
Absolutely fucking like I don't like. Do you know what? See, at the time we well, you can sort of run me through how you were feeling in that with the goal, but it was, look, it's not a great experience. Do you know what I mean? Like about like it was a good 5 minutes, if not more, like being in the ground. when we were listening to it on the radio, they were saying that nobody in the stadium knew what was going on, but it was communicated. You know, they said they were checking for
Yeah.
offside, and then they said they were checking for handball. And look, on reflection, it is the correct decision.
Aye, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to be diplomatic about it or not, but ultimately it is the correct decision
Hmm.
that they get to. In terms of the experience at the game, personally, I absolutely hate it. Like it's just
Yeah.
horrific because yes, they communicate what's going on, but you are still left guessing to a degree, obviously. This because they did say it was offside. They were
Hmm.
checking first, and then it comes up that they were checking a potential handball. But for me, it just should not take that long.
Yeah.
It absolutely cannot take that long because you said 5 minutes. I honestly felt it was longer than that. It'd be interesting to see if anybody sat with a stopwatch and
Aye.
timed it. But uh, it was far too long to determine whatever they were going to determine.
Hmm.
And last night after the game, when I'd seen the clips, I was under the impression that it was the wrong decision. So I was looking at it, trying to be sort of level head about it. They couldn't draw the offside lines apparently. So
Hmm.
it's like then they've tried to find something else to
Hmm.
disallow the goal for, because they maybe thought he was offside, so we'll find something else. But when you see it back, there's a great angle that's going around on Twitter
I think
today.
Dundee United shared it.
Aye, and the guy heads it down into his elbow, which is it's unfortunate. He doesn't mean it,
Well, he
obviously.
shares it. He should just score.
He
Like,
should just go.
just
Just do
score.
better. Just
Just
do better,
be
mate.
better, mate.
Aye.
Just be better. What does
Uh,
it say? Sam Dolby best in Scotland, mate. Or 2 yards out. Just don't hit yourself with it.
see,
Just
the
be
thing
better.
is, right? I actually don't know. I think even if it didn't hit his elbow, it wasn't going in.
No, look that. Well,
I think it's maybe going wide.
that's what that Dermot Gallagher said on Sky. Like he said, it's obvious. Like it's going wide, and then it hits his arm. And
Aye.
look, it's no obvious. But well, it is like right. It's not obvious because you need to slow it down to see it. But the
Once you
rule
see it, it's
is,
obvious.
yeah, and the rule is, like if it hits your arm, accidental or not, the goal cannot stand. So
Aye.
even if he had, like, say it was a totally different scenario, if he is accidental and controls the ball with a bit of his arm and then taps it in the net, it can't stand. You know, like
Yeah.
if the person who scores the goal, if the ball hits their arm and like the sort of action or process of scoring a goal, it simply can't stand. That's no Hibs' fault. It's not
Aye.
even David Dickinson's fault, who is the fucking by the only thing I'll give Dundee United some credit for is any fan saying he's a fucking idiot is right. He's the worst referee in the fucking country by a mile. I genuinely think he guesses every decision he makes. Like he
I've
genuinely.
lost track of who's the
Oh,
worst referee now, to be honest, because
Dickinson
every
is
week.
awful, genuinely awful. But like, I really think I think he's by far and away the worst we've had and seen this year. But simply put, the decision is correct. Junior
It
Hoylett's
is.
decision is correct. So. Hibs are still due one against Dundee United this season, so I look forward to potentially playing them in the split and us getting our questionable penalty that they got against Easter Road. Because I thought it was I've went back and watched Jim Goodwin's interview after the game at Easter Road, and I thought I wonder what he said. He said it was a good spot.
I was trying to find his interview after the game. I only found his Dundee United TV one, and generally slightly different to the BBC one. So I was looking back for that because I was like, I'm sure after the game he was like, oh, you get some,
Hmm.
like you say, he's saying it's a good spot from the referee, which it wasn't.
No,
But after listening to his interview from last night, I'll be very interested to see or to hear if he's going to go back because he actually said it in his BBC interview that
he's
it
apologised.
was yeah, he would apologise if it came to light that he was incorrect with his
Hmm.
assessment of the goal, and obviously he's wildly incorrect because it's a factual decision that hit the
Jim
guy's arm.
Goodwin,
So
or as Liam likes to coin him, Jim Badloss, left with his tails ate his tail in between his legs once again
not the
at
first
the
time the
hands
listeners.
of Hibernian Football Club. Maybe last time he was climbing over advertising boards to go home and be unemployed as fuck, and it's no nice to laugh at people being
He's
unemployed,
a
but
sausage.
Jim
That's what
Goodwin's
it
a
is. He's an
prick.
absolute sausage.
And maybe this time he'll be climbing over fences to hide behind so he doesn't have to apologise. And honestly, bunch of fucking losers. I just was looking into stuff today, and I thought, Dundee United, big club, hard place to go. Spent more time in the Championship than they have in the top six in the last 10 years. They've got relegated as many times as they've spent, and they've finished in the top six in the last 10 years. So I don't know. Enjoy it,
You've come with absolute receipts
mate.
tonight. Yeah.
Fuck them. I'm with Harry, man. Absolutely fuck them. Get it right round them. Honestly, like the outrage after that last night. Unbelievable. You watch Sports Scene, it's a disgraceful decision. It's this, it's that. It's no, it's
No,
correct.
it's
It's that
it's
simple.
uh,
And
uh,
aye, maybe Hibs have. Do you know what? I'll still say we've got the rub of the green, and like on another night that could have been missed. VAR still makes mistakes, but don't think we should criticise them when they get it right. But
no, but you are right in saying, and I know David Gray said it as well. Regardless of it being the right decision, it is still a bit of luck because the guy is 2 yards out and he
aye,
should just finish it. So ultimately,
just be better,
it
mate.
should have
Eh?
been. However, I actually thought the free kick in the first place was a bit soft. It was Nicky Cadden,
Oh, aye,
shoulder to shoulder and just bodied the guy. I thought it was a wee bit harsh, but
absolutely, mate. Anyway, look, at the end of the day, Hibs won. 14 games unbeaten. 6 points out of six this week. What a time. What a time.
it's what a time to be a Hibs fan. It's
Well,
unbelievable.
well, maybe just before we go into the derby, a little bit of other news. Everything's good about Hibs. Sick of them being sound. I'm sure Shahan Shite's just round the corner, but former Dundee United player and current Aberdeen player has opted to join a big club and sign a 4-year contract with Hibs this summer. Scott Burns felt it necessary to say that Hibs have offered him 7 figures. Well, 7 figures over 4 years works out at like just under 5 grand a week, does it know? So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a fairly standard wage in Scottish football these days. Jamie McGrath is a Hibs player for 4 years come the summer, Craig. Out the blue, what's your thoughts?
Well, we were saying it last night. It's so nice when a signing is not ruined by Fabrizio Romano or whoever it is that leaks these guys when they're going to sign. I know there was obviously a few rumours around it. Would it be either the beginning or the end of the January window?
Hmm.
Uh, but it came out of nowhere, and it's one that I'm happy on the surface of it. Obviously, I know there is this sort of feeling even amongst myself, and you kind of corrected me that on last night that he's injury prone. Uh,
I felt that
and
as well, but I think the
well,
stats say otherwise, yeah.
the stats would suggest otherwise. And on the surface of things, he seems to start off quite well at clubs and then maybe tail off a wee bit. Uh, but I think he's a player who has done really, really fantastically well for Aberdeen at the start of this season. By all accounts, going by the pundits, I think it was before the Celtic Aberdeen game, maybe Johnny Hayes was saying that they felt McGrath was pivotal in Aberdeen's early season form,
Hmm.
and then maybe when he's come out of the team, that's affected them. So it's a play, we're getting a player uh, with good quality, top level experience, international experience as well. So in terms of like a body to add to the squad, I just think you can't really go wrong with it. The 4-year deal is maybe the only bit I would question about it because I don't know if I would have given him a 4-year deal, maybe three.
Hmm.
But I mean, even at that, I'm nitpicking. I think
Yeah.
it's definitely a good signing.
Do you think it's just sensible? Do you know, like it make it on like it just it's makes sense a player that's sort of still in their sort of prime age, sort of late 20s, approaching 30. And again, I mean, if we're talking about saltiness for Dundee United, what about that Aberdeen tweet? Holy shit. Wow.
Nah,
That
that was
is
something
that,
else. It was actually an enjoyable read. It was quite a long
that
one, to be fair. I don't think tweets had that many characters in them, but I enjoyed reading that. There's clearly a bit of bad feeling there. Even if he comes back from his injury, he's
aye,
not going to play again for Aberdeen. Uh,
aye. I think
so
it's been quite the week. Hibs have managed to rile Celtic, Dundee United, Aberdeen, riled up Hearts because we apparently beat them to the signing of Jamie McGrath. Hopefully that continues,
uh,
mate. It's honestly what a fucking time. It's like we it's it, do you know we sit and we do this podcast every week and obviously twice this week, but it is nice, isn't it? If we were just to talk about being a fan currently, then like we come on here and we're not having to we don't have to do anything, but we're no miserable. We're just here having a genuinely just having a laugh, feeling good about the club, and it's just a fucking great time to be a Hibs fan, isn't it?
It's brilliant, mate, because I was actually saying that to my brother today. At the start of the season, it was almost getting to a point where you were kind of dreading going to the games, really, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I
100%.
don't know, like around the 10 game mark, it kind of got to that stage, especially away games, you're like, oh, got to trek across the country again and go and watch Hibs inevitably lose a last minute equaliser, or inevitably go 1-0 up and then lose the game from a winning position. Uh, and as a fickle football fan, as we all are, when you start winning games, it makes it so much better, and the experience instantly becomes more enjoyable. Uh, and obviously, the run that we're on just now, it just you couldn't not enjoy being a Hibs fan just now. And I would just urge everybody to enjoy it while it's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy it, especially if we win on Sunday, as I'm sure we'll come to talk about.
I'll talk
Uh,
about it now. Let's go.
use that as a link. If we win on Sunday, it's just it has to be up there with one of the best periods of watching Hibs,
Mm-hmm.
because the feeling around the club right now, and the connection that the fans have got with the players, and that was so drastically missing at the start of the season, to go from one complete end of the spectrum to the other is just it's just batshit, really. It's
Aye.
absolutely mental. It
It
doesn't
is,
make
it
sense.
is absolutely ridiculous, like to be in this position from where we were as recently as November. Do you know,
Uh,
it is, and it is fantastic. And look, Liam billed it last night as our potentially our biggest league game in 5 years. Well, the fact we won that, I think that makes this weekend potentially the biggest game
uh,
since Wednesday, at least.
yeah,
But a weird feeling, isn't it? Do you know, like you hear the songs last after the game last night, and we both joined in it, and it's probably the sort of stuff that would usually give us the fear as well. But oh, that'll come back to bite you on the arse. But it's one of them where I'm at ease. I'm sure that'll change come Sunday morning, but I'm calm. We were even speaking about it in when we got into the stadium last night, and you sort of you see them warming up, and you see them lining up, and you see the players, and you go, do you know, like there's just a calmness, and go, do you know, these guys are actually quite good at football. They've got a good team spirit. They know what their job is to do. So I'm not going to sit and scream and say we're going to pump Hearts, because Hearts are on a good run of form themselves. They got a good win obviously last night, but I think we will be just fine on Sunday. Do you know what I mean? And we look, we could lose the game. We could draw the game, but I don't think we will. I think we are going to win the game of football because we have not lost in 15 games. We have proven that we can perform exceedingly well in games and win. We've proven that we can grind out draws in games that we're playing poorly, and we've proven that we can go until the last minute and win games where we've been really poor like last night. So I don't see any reason why any Hibs fan should go into this game. Look, it's a derby, you'll be nervous, but don't let that be your overriding emotion. Let have the confidence and look forward to the game and the challenge that lies ahead and the rewards that could come on the back of this. That would be unbeaten still in the derby this year. If you win the game, you go into third place. You can enjoy watching Aberdeen Dundee United to see how that goes. And it's just would top off what would be a fantastic week to be a Hibs fan. And I just really think I do think we're gonna win the game. I think it'll be a good game of football. I think it'll be two teams that I think there'll be goals in the game. I know we've said that a lot in Edinburgh derbies, but Hearts, in my opinion, they set up quite attacking. I think they can be exposed at the back, especially from cross balls, which we've seen on numerous occasions are a massive strength of ours, but they do set up with three strikers. So I think there'll be goals in the game and Hibs will be tested at points in it. And, I probably don't even expect us to dominate possession, Craig, but I think we are going to win the game. What about you?
I, to go back to the earlier point about having more of a calmness, I think actually this team probably deserves the fans now to have that confidence in them, to have that bit of belief that no, we are a good side and we can go here and win this game. Because quite often you see in the derbies, it just seems like kind of tradition that Hibs panic and Hearts are always more confident. And I think at Easter Road, our patch, I think we should absolutely be confident in winning this game of football. Uh, we're over the piece. We're playing well just now. Obviously, last night weren't playing well, and you still get a result. So I suppose that is actually a form of playing well, to be fair.
Mhm.
Uh, but I would agree with you. I think we won the game. I, the only thing is, I said I wouldn't say it, but it just screams obviously us being unbeaten. It's Hearts coming up. Like it just screams of them ending this unbeaten run. Uh, but again, I would go back to similar to the way I felt with Dundee United last night. Probably feel the same with Hearts. I think if we turn up and we play as well as we can, we win the game because I think we're a better side than them. I think we're a more together side. I think we're a better unit.
Mhm.
We've got that sort of defensive soundness about us. Up until the last couple of games, our goalie's been on excellent form. There's a few questions amongst the Hearts support. I know I was speaking to one today about Craig Gordon. Apparently, he seems to be making some sort of blunder every single game. Uh, no doubt he'll end up having
Really
an
lucky
absolute
not to
worldly
give away
save.
a penalty last night. Really lucky. I think the
I've
guy
I've,
was
I've not
just
seen
offside.
seen it at all.
Just absolutely
Uh,
smashed the boy.
so there's maybe something to get at there. We're obviously very good from set pieces, great delivery. So that's an area that I would be looking to target. Get the ball on top of Craig Gordon and test him at his feet as well, because he's very, very uncertain when the ball goes into his feet.
Mhm.
Even if he's not having to take a touch, even if he's just hitting it first time, he's sclaffing a lot of the time. It's getting sliced. So I think our energetic press that we seem to be showing the last few weeks will come in key as well.
I think it'll be a really interesting game of football if you were to take your sort of Hibs or Hearts hat off. As we know, there is some weirdo Hearts fans that listen to this. They obviously they've changed shape a little bit, and they're playing with like Shankland that little bit deeper with two out and out strikers as well. Like, and I mean, there's no getting away from it. Obviously, Kabangu is a threat. He's scored a lot of goals for them since he signed, but it'll be interesting because I was listening to the Terrace. From between the games at the weekend and the midweek games, and they were saying
Hmm.
like how can sort of get quite exposed in the fullback areas. They struggle to get out and sort of stop crosses. They've looked vulnerable. They've St Johnstone had a power of chances that all came from crosses. Obviously Rangers scored with McCart's own goal from crosses. I think their goal last night for St Mirren came from a cross into the box as well. Like it's that is all things for me that should absolutely play into Hibs' hands just now. It'll be interesting to see how we approach the game because obviously they're going to have a lot of bodies in the middle of the park. So like it might almost be a case of like going man for man in there and then really getting our wing backs to go at their full backs. But I think if you can get Nicky Cadden at his best, delivering balls into the box, if you can maybe bring Chris Cadden back in to be more on
That
the
was going to
front
be my
foot
question
and
for you. Uh,
would I bring Chris Cadden in for Lewis Miller? Um, I thought Miller was good last night. Uh,
do you think Cadden brings you that sort of extra
he does going
delivery from a
forward.
wide area, a bit more of attacking threat than Miller
Yeah.
brings, perhaps? I think Miller sometimes goes forward and then kind of looks a wee bit unsure about what to do next, whereas Cadden maybe just uh, Chris Cadden, I should say, just
Mhm.
goes forward, gets the ball into the box, and by the way, a lot of his deliveries are actually quite good. Just quite often people don't actually pick up on it. Uh,
I think I
Personally,
would
I
be
would bring him back
comfortable
in.
either way, if I'm being honest. But I would not to sit on the fence. I would lean towards bringing Chris Cadden back in. Yeah, I think I would. I think it's a game where I want to see us um, be as more on the front foot than what we were last night.
Aye,
Um,
I think he offers you that more front foot
yeah.
feeling. Uh, but it's difficult at the same time. It is difficult, like you say. You'd be comfortable with either, and at the end of the day, it's the same sort of scenario with Mariah Welsh. Do you drop a player who's playing well?
No,
I
Mariah
don't know
Welsh
if you do.
starts, has to start.
Like a guy that's playing so well, you've got to keep playing him. And maybe Miller's in the same boat while he's riding that wave of
Hmm.
confidence. Get him in, play him, and you can always bring Cadden on with half an hour to
Hmm.
go or whatever. But it's a difficult one. That was probably the one that I would be unsure of most in terms of the team. I would imagine certain because obviously Bowie would have
Well, this is
expended a wee bit of
yeah.
energy last night. Does he come? Do they just do
But
the
I think
straight
Bowie
swap
will
back in?
start, and I think the question mark is who starts beside him. So Kukurevich scored last night. Bowie scored. That's actually the first time that a striker scored for us since the Clydebank game.
Mm.
Now, I'm not.
Hinting at Boyle.
No, I genuinely don't want that to be a criticism of. Well, all of them. No, it's
Yeah.
not. None of them have scored in that time frame. But Boyle, I don't know, hasn't looked as sharp in the last few games. I don't think as what he had done. Um, earlier on in this run of form, and he really, I think it can probably be overlooked. As to how big a part he played in kickstarting this run of form as well. I thought he was really good when he came into the team, but I don't know. I don't. I like the thought of Martin Boyle playing in the game. I do, but everything I've said there about getting at Hearts and with crosses into the box, would we be more effective with Kukurevich and Bowie in there?
See, because then you've got a bit more target to hit from the crosses. But see, the case that I would make for Martin Boyle is obviously I was touching earlier on Craig Gordon and our sort of press. I feel like Martin Boyle, although he's not been playing recently,
Yeah,
playing well
yeah,
recently, he's offered so much in that press. Like
absolutely.
he's been very, 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 very uh, high and high energy as well with his press right on the defenders. And I feel like if we can get him in and about Craig Gordon when they're trying to play the ball around the back, you could get joy out of that.
Yeah,
Whether that be directly him blocking or something, or whether it be them rushing clearances and basically just giving us the ball back.
yeah.
Uh,
I think that I think I would be surprised if Boyle didn't start the game, but I don't know that I would be disappointed if he didn't. I think I would be disappointed if it wasn't for Kukurevich,
what age
personally.
is Boyle? Uh,
32?
So
31?
I'm not being funny, but he's played a lot of minutes recently and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of running in his legs. So is there maybe an argument there that he's
31.
getting to the
He's
stage when he
32
needs a
next
rest?
month. Well, this is it. Like, this is like, and yeah, I don't, I am absolutely not criticizing him. He's still been effective in roles. I just find it difficult when your strikers aren't scoring that many goals that you bring a player in. I think he plays well at Tannadice. He scores a goal to then put him back on the bench. And I do think the centre backs are a massive weakness for Hearts. I really don't think McCart's an excellent defender, and only seen really small spurts of their new centre back that's playing alongside them. And again, sort of watched their game against St Johnstone, and I didn't think he was great, and I just but what St Johnstone did have in that game was Sidibe who can run in behind and is pacey, and I don't feel like they got anything out of that. But where they did have great success was cross balls. So I
Aye.
don't know. I think it'll be interesting. But right now I would say I expect Martin Boyle to start. But like I say, if he didn't, it wouldn't come as a great surprise. Would there be any other changes in there for you? Josh Campbell looked very leggy last night,
Aye,
but
did he?
got a bit of a rest. But obviously Junior Hoylett, we said he was. I know Bowie took his goal excellently, but Hoylett was probably the best of the subs. Is there a case for him to come in and start, or do you think we need to make as little changes as possible?
Aye, you always want to make as little changes as possible to a team. I would, yeah, leg is the only thing, but at the end of the day, just go and win the game in the first
Aye.
45 minutes or the first 60 minutes, and then you can take your guys off and rest them,
hmm
and bring these better players off the bench, well, fresher players off the
hmm
bench, I should say, not better. Uh, but that is the good thing that just now, whatever way we start up, the bench and the strength coming on for the bench looks so much better than
hmm
than it has like in the sort of first 15 games of the season. It's just miles ahead just now. You look at the bench even last night, and we were sort of commenting on it before the game. Like you've actually got options now
hmm
to come on that you can rely on. It's not. I won't dig anybody out, but it's not some this guy or that guy that you
Dig
go
him out.
and
It's no Harry McCurdy.
I was going to say Adam McCurdy,
You can say what you want about
or
Miko, but
Tavares,
Miko
or
is better than Harry McCurdy. He's proven that he can actually score a goal.
he's
You know
got
what
a
I mean?
bit
Like
more of
that.
a track
Aye.
record
Yeah.
than nothing.
Aye.
Something's better than nothing. Uh, so you've got a bit more faith in these guys that are coming off the bench that they're actually going to be able to have some sort of impact. And then a game like last night just proves that even more. You're bringing, although Bowie is a starter, you're bringing him off the bench because we've had to rotate him, whatever the reason is. And Bowie and Hoylett both come on off the bench and score, and Gale comes on and has a massive impact. So it's nice to now have these options
Hmm.
going into sort of a really important spell of the season where we are playing a lot of games and we are going to have to rotate. That's just a fact.
Yep.
But as for this weekend, I would probably keep the team largely the same. Defensively wise, I wouldn't change anything at all, other than maybe, like I say, the Chris Cadden and Miller thing. That's up for debate. Purely, I think that comes down to a tactical thing rather than legs or anything. Because I think Miller's a fit guy. He fit and young. I don't think he'll be feeling the effects too much.
Hmm. So we've had a nice question into the chat there that's got everyone chatting in the YouTube comments there. So Phil's said that he's bringing his wee man over for his first derby on Sunday, and he's wanting to get recommendations for everyone's favourite derby goals to get shown him in the airport on Sunday morning. Hopefully, he's a
That's
lucky charm for
class.
derby. So, Craig, what would be your top three Edinburgh Derby goals?
Top three, I've got definitely one that's a bit out of the blue, and Wotherspoon deflected strike at Easter Road. We won 1-0, and I think it was the year after the 5-1 cup final.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that goal. Genuinely, as I
Just
was
oh, it was
for
absolute
the
carnage, that
relief.
goal. Do you know what? Actually, that's probably like the best word for it. It was a bit of relief, obviously, coming off the back of that. Everybody's devastated and whatnot. And it was just the strangest goal up in the air. But no, it was brilliant. Other than that, Horgan at Tiny was fucking class, wasn't it? It was so
Hmm.
good. I can't remember what the first win I seen at Tynecastle was, but it might have been that. It might have been that. Uh, but I just remember that goal because me and Harry were sitting, we were kind of, as you're looking at the stand, sort of midway up on the right hand side. And from our point, we couldn't see the back of the net just because it's kind of that steep and everybody's standing. We couldn't actually see the ball hitting the net. You just heard everybody going mad, obviously, and you knew it was in.
Hmm.
So that was good. What would I put after that? Uh, oh, Paul Hanlon. Paul Hanlon at Tynecastle in the cup, two each.
Hmm.
That's that's probably number one, even though it's only a draw. It was just
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Just had a wee comment come in there on the YouTube comments. Kenny saying Josh Campbell suspended for the weekend. So as soon as I seen that, I searched Josh Campbell suspended on Twitter, and I've seen a couple of people asking and tweeting about it, and people saying that he's not
Yeah, well,
suspended.
I can shed a tad of light on that one. So my brother, after the game, he's seen it on live score or flash score, I think it was actually, that when Campbell got booked, it's got in brackets, miss his next match.
Right.
But Harry's then messaged back and said apparently the bookings reset
It goes
after
to
so many
12.
match weeks or something.
So you need to have 12 the next because they've spoke about. I remember them hearing it on the Hearts St Johnstone game because Penrice got his 10th booking in the season, and you now need 12 bookings for a
Right.
and it's a 2 game suspension. So I don't know how
So
many he's
Harry seems
got.
to think that it's reset in time or something for
Well,
it
it
resets
basically
after a
it
certain.
it doubles basically. Yeah, like it
uh,
goes from 6 to 12. I don't know.
so
I don't know how many.
apparently not. Apparently, he isn't banned, but that's probably. I'm trying to look to see his message there, to see what he said. But
Josh
I
Campbell has got. I don't know if FootMob tells you his bookings, does it? Anyway, this is good. He's got 6 yellow cards. He's not going to be suspended. Absolutely
aye.
not. He won't be suspended for that. No danger. Not at this stage of the season, like I say. Otherwise, Penrice would also be
By
suspended.
the way, I can see another Campbell header goal
That'd be
with a delivery that they're susceptible from deliveries from
uh,
wide, like you're saying.
getting
Nicky Cadden,
in
the
between the
late
centre
late
halves that
run.
are occupied.
Aye. A late run for a midfielder is just class. It's one of the best things in football.
I
And by
can
the way,
see
one
it,
of the most
Craig.
deadly things in football.
I can see it, Craig. I can see it. Nicky Cadden whipping it in for in front of the east stand. Campbell just beyond the penalty spot.
Beautiful.
Opens up his right foot, bottom right hand corner as we look
Oh,
at it.
like Dwight Gale style.
Aye, aye,
Aye.
aye,
I would
absolutely, mate.
enjoy.
Oh, I can see it. My top three Edinburgh Derby goals, and then we'll finish on a score prediction. I will go for Dwight Gale's goal to win it. on Boxing Day. What a goal! What a moment! You talk about defining moments and seasons as well. Early on in this run, really keeps things going, ticking over, gives you a whole lot of confidence for this to keep going. Then I would have to say I really, really enjoyed Simon Murray's goal the night we beat
Uh,
them 1-0.
it was
Uh,
after like 4 minutes or something.
yep, sent John Suter for a hot dog and smashed into the top corner. And then I'm trying to think it like it would be easy to go Horgan or Hanlon, and it's not criticism. I'm trying to think of maybe a couple other ones.
Oiler.
Thank God, Liam and Harry aren't here, as I'm sure they'd be bringing up Kevin Nisbet's one when I was at the chocolate factory. I'll get that dig in it myself, but I'll go for
Typical.
Boozie's goal when we beat
Ooh.
them when they hadn't lost a game, and the reason I'll go for that is it's the first really, really clear, vivid memory that I have of us beating Hearts. So I remember when O'Connor scored in the last minute. I got my first season ticket later that season at halfway point, so I remember watching that on the telly. And then I think Riordan scored a screamer in the first derby I was at Easter Road, but I can't really remember it. I feel like I remember that because of seeing it on YouTube.
Uh,
But Boozie's goal in the game that beat them 2-1 or 2-0 or 2-1.
I
They
think it was.
hadn't
I thought it was 2-0, was it not?
they hadn't, yeah, 2-0. I think O'Connor scored and Boozy scored,
Uh,
and they hadn't lost a game that season. They just sat Burley, and I have a very clear memory of the celebrations and everything. So I'm going for that one.
what a player,
A
Boozy.
lovely goal, just similar to what I was saying about Josh Campbell. We late run into the box, opened up his foot through the keeper's
It's
legs.
it's deadly.
Gorgeous, mate, gorgeous. Um, right, Craig, Edinburgh Derby Sunday. Score prediction. Just how many goals are we going to beat these cunts by?
I'm gonna go for as comfortable as a derby can be, but relatively comfortable. 2-0 Hibs win.
Love it. Love that. Who's the hero? Who's getting the goals? Josh Campbell and
Josh Campbell. It's got to be Josh Campbell and Bowie. Bowie riding his wee wave of confidence after getting his first goal back.
Mhm.
I think he's going to body McCart and ping it in the top corner.
I think there's goals in this game. I think Hibs. I do think we're going to. Oh, do it. I feel like. I think we're going to concede because Hearts are playing three strikers and they're scoring goals. But I look at our defence and I think, they're playing really well. Like we kept Celtic at bay for a long, long, like a lot of that game. Dundee United only score for offside positions and deflections. So I am going to say that are going to Hibs are going to win this game 3-0.
Oof, that's a derby demolition.
That's a
There's your title.
that's what we're hoping for. There's your snip for any of the Hearts fans that are listening or watching
Yeah,
back
that's
when we inevitably
bookmarked.
lose on
Uh,
on Sunday, and that's getting put all over the place. But no, 3-0 Hibs. I'm with you on Josh Campbell. I'm with you on Kieran Bowie. And then Rocky Bashiri's getting that redemption
oh,
arc against Hearts, mate,
mate. Oh, tell me about it. That would be absolutely class. I would love nothing more than to see Rocky Bashiri score
against them.
a winner in a derby.
Aye.
I think the
I,
guy's head would come off.
I think Hibs are going to, and I think it's going to go in that order. Josh Campbell in front of the Hearts fans, Kieran Bowie early doors in the second half, then Rocky late on.
Rocky
3-0
Leno.
Hibs, Rocky man of the match, as per
Aye.
fucking usual.
Another
Right,
knee
Craig.
slide, please.
Craig, that has been a fucking pleasure to do that with you for the last hour this evening. It is so much fun recording this podcast while Hibs are this good. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be back as usual on Monday. Liam will be joining us. Fingers crossed that we have beaten the dirty Jambo bastards, Craig. Motherfucking IBs. Cheers.
And a cabbage. Cheers.
Should be good. Aye, that was good, mate.